Fan songs are a significant staple in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. The songs by the likes of The Living Tombstone, DA Games, and many others are so easy to identify by the average FNAF fan, and even those outside of the space. A large amount of internet users in general have heard the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 song, and practically everyone on Earth has heard It's Been So Long. One of the less prominent FNAF song creators, but arguably the most prominent FNAF content creator in general, is Dawko. Dawko's first FNAF video was uploaded only about a week after the release of the first game, and as we all know, he would become pretty much the most significant member of the entire community. And in 2018, Dawko released his first Five Nights at Freddy's fan song called Like It or Not. Since the release of Like It or Not, Dawko has gone on to release another dozen songs. More specifically, something he's done a lot is turn stories from the Fazbear Frights books into songs. I've always liked this idea. Although I'm not a fan of the Fazbear Frights books and couldn't really care less about them, making songs based on them is a great way of distinguishing your discography of fan songs from the dozens and dozens of others. And people really like these songs based on stories. Everyone loves Fetch, everyone loves Out of Stock, people somehow like Count the Ways, I don't get it. But for some reason, the great majority of the community deemed To Be Beautiful to be the worst Dawko FNAF song. And this is so outrageous to me, I can't even remotely understand it. Like, I'd understand if the general consensus was that To Be Beautiful wasn't his best, but I've heard that this is his worst one from so many people. Even the Johnny Blocks told me this while we were playing Project Playtime. So today I'm going to explain why I love Dawko's To Be Beautiful, and why I would legitimately call it one of the most artistic fan songs of all time. But first, speaking of beauty, allow me to introduce you to the sponsor of this video, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play RPG that is available on Android, iOS, and PC. Raid has console-quality graphics, well over 650 champions to collect, a super in-depth RPG battle system, and amazing PvE boss fights. Not only that, the game receives new champions and updates every single month, so there's always new content to experience. My personal favorite champion is Turvold. His crackling blade skill not only attacks an enemy twice in one go, it also has a 55% chance of placing a 25% debuff on the enemy for 2 turns. Another one I love is Judge, whose skill Eviscerate will increase in damage by 10% for every debuff on the target, and this can go up to 100%. But there's more. Every good game needs an endgame, an epic final battle. In Raid Shadow Legends, the endgame is the Doom Tower. This huge tower is essentially a giant prison. To climb to the top, you're going to need an army of champions, but the bosses are really tough, and you need some serious specialists if you're going to beat them. A couple of bosses need specific mechanics to beat them, like the Scarab King. That's not all. If you install Raid right now, you'll still be able to participate in the Egg Hunt. Scour the Dragon's Lair using your phone, and if you find the hidden egg, you'll be in for a chance to win amazing in-game items and even real-life prizes, ranging from legendary Raid champions to Amazon gift cards with a total value of $20,000. This event is for new players, but existing Raid players can join as well. Go to egghunt.plarium.com and find a special promo code to earn a small gift in-game. But there's even more brand new and exciting content because of the limited series Raid Call of the Arbiter on the rise. There will be new champions, a new artifact set, events, and more. There's already a whole load of champion bios that have just been added to the game if you're desperate to find out more about the Raid universe. With all this exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? Use my link in the description or scan my QR code on screen to get insane bonuses. We are talking about an epic champion Drake, and other useful things, energy refill, skin tome, XP booster. So just hit my link in the description and I'll see you on the battlefield. Thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. The first thing about To Be Beautiful that I want to talk about is the vocal performance. The main reason I want to mention this first is because it is the biggest difference between To Be Beautiful and the rest of Dawko's discography. Although there have been guest appearances from multiple singers in the scene in various songs from Dawko, To Be Beautiful is the only track where Dawko has no presence, and all the vocals are delivered by 2 female vocalists. These performances are absolutely gorgeous, and add so much to the aesthetic of the song. Obviously, the choice to have female vocalists on this track was made because of the 2 main characters of the story, but the high-pitched vocals and the more shrill moments make this track so distinct as well. It gives this musical version of the story that gritty and dark vibe that the original also encapsulates. I also adore the way the vocals lead into the beat drop. When the chorus ends with, "and take this heart to make you what I would call beautiful," it sends shivers down my spine. Speaking of the beat drop, let's talk about that. This is easily the most contentious part of the song. Pretty much everyone I've ever seen discuss or give a comment on To Be Beautiful has made it clear that they dislike this beat drop. And if I'm being honest, I felt that same way when I listened to it for the first time. I never hated the beat drop, but I just found it really underwhelming. The production was so grandiose alongside the vocals being so expressive and eerie, and then the beat drop would come in and just sound like some weird clanking noises. However, I've actually really grown to like the beat drop in this track because it feels so aesthetically, but also thematically appropriate. The whole idea around the To Be Beautiful story is that Sarah, the protagonist, is slowly having her insides replaced with scrap metal parts by an animatronic called Eleanor. I mean, the story literally starts with Sarah finding Eleanor in a junkyard. So the fact that the beat drop literally sounds like the musical equivalent to scrap metal is actually really cool to me. It has a pretty decent sound to it. Again, I never really hated it, but when you take the narrative from the book that has been translated into song form into account, it actually makes a lot of sense and gives the track even more of an aesthetic. And although I want to talk about the song a little bit more in this video, this is where I want to talk about the music video. The way the To Be Beautiful music video tells the story in a matter of minutes is actually really impressive, and there are some scenes in this video that are really unlike what you'd expect in a traditional fan song. The video and song starts with the first verse being sung by Sarah, but she isn't actually on screen. During this time, we get a view of Eleanor in the junkyard, inactive and motionless, until the verse ends and Eleanor's head tweaks just a little bit. The chorus comes in and we see Eleanor twiddle her fingers to show again that she is in fact functional. And when Sarah sings the line, "What I would do to be beautiful," Eleanor's eye lights up and acts as a perfect transition. I've already said how much I love these vocal performances and how much I like that line in particular, and when it's used in the context of the video, I love it even more. The way Eleanor just slightly alludes to her still being active before fully awakening upon Sarah declaring how much she desires to be beautiful is just such a cool moment to me. Afterwards, the beat drops, and we see the interesting way this video delivers its storytelling. It flashes different frames of the story in correspondence with the instrumental. I won't claim that this is anything genius, but it works really well as a mechanic to fit so much of a story into such a short video. The first scene with this method is just to showcase Sarah bringing Eleanor into her house. After that sequence, we get the verse from the perspective of Eleanor, and the lyrics, performance, video all work together so well to put together such a simple yet gritty scene where Eleanor is giving off this idea that she truly intends on helping Sarah, and only somewhat alluding to the atrocity she will actually commit. Also worth noting is that she sings, "and take this heart to make you what I would call beautiful," and puts a necklace with a heart pendant around her neck. This will be important later. And after this scene of Eleanor and Sarah together, we have what might be my favorite sequence from any fan-made Five Nights at Freddy's video. This fully black and white sequence that portrays what Eleanor is doing to Sarah in her sleep through only silhouettes. We see Sarah hung up from chains as Eleanor rips parts of her body directly out of her. Not only that, we see Eleanor getting a gear out of a pile of scraps, just to make sure we, the audience, know exactly what she is doing to keep Sarah together. This is just a really unique way of portraying one of the most disturbing moments in all of FNAF in a relatively clean way. You get the idea of exactly what is happening, but you don't really have to be shown the sheer amount of gore actually going on. And again, this just isn't something I see done in FNAF songs that much. There's a lot of FNAF music videos that I really do enjoy, but they don't usually take such a unique and artistic angle to it. After the black and white sequence, we see Eleanor towering over Sarah sleeping as she sings a lullaby to her. To my understanding, this actually appears in the original story, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. After seeing this monster rip apart this girl's body just to replace her body parts with pieces of scrap metal, this is actually a pretty ominous scene. After we've seen all the terrible things Eleanor has done to Sarah, the next scene is just Sarah on a normal day. Sarah trips and falls on something while in a public setting. This fall causes the necklace around her neck to fly off of her. While she's on the ground, her normal human appearance just goes away, and all the disgusting scrap reveals itself. This is because the necklace was what gave Sarah a natural appearance despite her whole body being torn apart and replaced with filthy scrap metal. In a zombie-like state, Sarah flees back to her house where Eleanor dances around her and repeats the same lullaby she sang as she watched over Sarah at night while doing all these horrific things. And that is how the video ends. Again, from an artistic angle, I love this song and video so much. There's beautiful performances from two singers to deliver both gritty perspectives from the main characters, the production enhances the aesthetic and the beat drop works for the disturbing theme, and this video uses multiple unique and creative methods to portray a fairly thorough and horrific story. So I ask, why do so many people dislike this song so much? As far as FNAF songs go, this is one of the most creative and artistic ones I can think of. It's genuinely unlike anything else, and I absolutely adore it. I love how dark it is, I love the performances from the singers, I love how everything works together thematically. I just don't understand the hate this one gets, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Let me know what you guys think of this song. If you disagree with me, I would actually love to hear why. And if there are any other FNAF songs that you would deem noteworthy or underrated, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I would just like to thank today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, one more time before I sign off. Be sure to download the game using my link in the description. It really helps me out a lot. The game is available on Android, iOS, and PC, and features a lot of content. That is going to be all from me, the baddest. Thank you for watching.